Let's go to Paris and speak to Anne Elisabeth Moutet, a journalist at the British newspaper The Telegraph. Anne Elisabeth, always a pleasure to have you on air. I mean, is he a serious presidential candidate, or is this latest example just more publicity for his racist position?
I think it's not seen by him as publicity. It certainly is seen by the people who would like for him not to be in the second round to attack him. They are appealing, but there's yet another case on something different that's coming in a few weeks. So there's been sort of relentless attacks of things he said. What's interesting is that Eric Zemmour polled as high as 18% for the first round in November, but his figures have been constantly going down since. So polls give him now between 13 and 15%, which means that Marine Le Pen and Valérie Pécresse, the extreme right Marine Le Pen and the moderate Républicain Valérie Pécresse, are both scoring better, and Emmanuel Macron is still ahead at 25%. That would mean that there would be a second round without Eric Zemmour.
I thought Marine Le Pen, despite being far right, even she had said that Eric Zemmour is just a little bit too extreme. Who supports Zemmour? Is there a particular stereotype of Zemmour supporter? Do they live in a particular part of France? Are they a particular age group?
No, young people, people across France. They are economically, they are richer, they are more affluent, they read more books, and that is understandable because he started being famous by writing books and articles in newspapers. So he's got a sort of cross selection that of people who belong to the right side of the Républicain Party, whereas Marine Le Pen is much more popular. And if anything, she makes inroads with the supporters of the old-style left because of her populist discourse and because of the fact that these people who belong to labor movements, now they worry that they don't have jobs. So it's still up in the air, I think. The election is on, the first round is on the 7th of April, the second round is on the 21st of April. So they've got a little more time. But the following of Zemmour is more a question of people who see society and culture wars as more important than economic wars.
Is France such a libertarian country that being convicted of racist hate speech doesn't discount someone from standing for the most important position in the whole country?
I would say that, first of all, it's still being appealed. But I would also say that there's an element of kabuki in all this, with people affecting to be extremely scandalized and the judges sort of, following suit. The things that Eric Zemmour says today, you could find a lot of quotes from Jacques Chirac in the 1990s that sound very much like them. Zemmour has made immigration his sort of main platform, but so did Nigel Farage in Britain, and it did not disqualify him from running and creating the Brexit Party and helping afterwards with Brexit. Now you can say that the solution, the conclusion of this and the effects of this are not very good for society, but it's the same level, except that in France it's much easier to take you to court over it.
I suppose as we look ahead to the election itself, that the incumbent is most often the favourite. What obstacles does Emmanuel Macron have to avoid to make sure that he gets re-elected?
What he really would like to be running against Marine Le Pen, because he knows he will win, because that would be the third time that she runs, and she's tried to be less extremist than Eric Zemmour, and that created an opening on the right for Zemmour. But at the same time, there's a feeling in France that she's not competent enough to become president. People also say that Eric Zemmour has no experience and he couldn't possibly be a president. But to a large extent, it's a protest vote. I don't think anybody expects him to win in the second round. Marine Le Pen is closer to that, but the real adversary of Macron, which is why he doesn't want her to get there, is Valérie Pécresse, because she's offering a democratic, centre-right alternative to Emmanuel Macron. She's not so different. And there are lots of people in France who don't like the way he's handled the vaccine crisis and who do not like the way he's handled civil liberties. Ever since the Charlie Hebdo killings, France has been under some sort of emergency situation in one way or another, and some people dislike that.
Anne Elisabeth, I'm going to have to interrupt you. Sorry. 28 minutes past the hour is our off-air time, and there's a count in my ear. Anne Elisabeth Moutet, thanks always.